And good evening. Welcome to your State of the County. We are so glad you're here. Let me go ahead and just say again, I'm County Judge Joseph Wood, and welcome you to our third annual State of the County. We are, first let me say Happy New Year. Let me say some of you guys are new and joining us, but again, Happy New Year to you. We kick off a new decade wishing you guys all an extraordinary and prosperous new year. I want to welcome our county employees, our legislative group. We have, I think, some representatives here from Senator Cotton's office, Senator Bozeman's office, Congressman Womack's office, Governor Hutchinson. Want to thank them for their continued support, as well as their staff who are attending here tonight. Any state legislators, again, we welcome you and thank you for being here. But most importantly, we thank our citizens of Washington County. Thank you for allowing us to serve you. And so with that being said, our countywide elected officials will share with you a few highlights from last year in 2019 and a few goals that we want to share with you in 2020. And then I'll wrap it up with my remarks, and we'll get ready for Quorum Court in about 50 minutes or 55 minutes. So with that, we'll kick off with our state treasurer, Mr. Bobby Hill.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. Happy New Year. I keep having to go first at these things, and I think it's the only thing I can think of is that after I'm done, everybody thinks it can only get better from there. So, but we will press on. I am Bobby Hill, your Washington County Treasurer. We just finished up the 2020 budget, but we're already looking ahead to 2021 and beyond. The county's biggest expense every year, as most people know, is personnel, but that's one thing I don't believe you can go wrong investing in your employees. Of course, we all know whose money this is, and I try to the best to keep this in mind when preparing my own budgets. In the Treasurer's office, our three greatest responsibilities are securing your money, balancing your money, and growing your money. I've been working in the Treasurer's office in one capacity or the other for almost 23 years, and I'm proud to say we still haven't lost a penny during that time. Our latest audit is finalized, and once again, there was no issues in the Treasurer's office. And for that, I'd like to thank my awesome staff for keeping me out of the newspaper. When dealing with public funds, page one is the last place a treasurer wants to be. As far as growing your money, interest returns increased another 34% in 2019, and that's on top of the 133% it increased in 2018. So we're doing well, although interest rates are starting to trend down a little, unfortunately. We were able to do this while keeping almost all of your tax dollars within Washington County. I prefer to invest locally instead of sending money to Little Rock. There's nothing wrong with Little Rock, or sending money to Little Rock or somewhere out of state. Looking at 2020 and beyond, I consider Washington County's financial situation as stable, if not improving. The $500,000 increase has gone a long way in shoring up our county general fund. In fact, for the first time in a decade, the county general fund ended the year better than it started. County finances will take a hit on the 1 cent sales tax coming in 2021 following the 2020 census. And that's because we share with the cities based on population. And as more people move to the cities, less people in the county, that means we get a smaller piece of the pie. The upcoming countywide property reappraisal, however, should offset any revenue loss from this sales tax, hopefully. Again, thanks for being here, and don't hesitate to come see me at any time. You can also view if you're interviewing financial reports, I have it on the county website under the Treasurer link. Again, thank you.
Thank you, Treasurer Hill, making it rain for us here in Washington County. Our Circuit Clerk, Kyle Sylvester.
Good evening. Kyle Sylvester. I'm the Washington County Circuit Clerk. We take care of all the Circuit Court records for Washington County and also all the land recordings dealing with real estate. Just to kind of recap 2019, on our court side, we opened a total of 10,172 new cases in 2019. That's on average for working days during the year of 41 new cases a day. We really don't expect to see a downward turn in that due to population increase. And also, we took in $795,792 in fines and fees, court fines and fees. Those are fines and costs that are ordered by the circuit courts here in Washington County. And that's the total number that we collected in 2019. As far as the real estate side, in 2019, we recorded just over 250,000 documents, 252,000 plus documents in 2019. And again, we really don't expect to see a decrease in 2020. Again, with the population increasing, all the building that's going on, the economy's really good. We're seeing a very steady real estate market here in Washington County and in Northwest Arkansas in the overall. 2019 budgeting. Looking at our budget from last year, we were still able to come under budget. We used 90% of our general budget and about 71% of our recorder's cost budget. Always looking for ways to trim costs and make efficiencies. And I can say that, you know, most of our elected officials are very intentional on making sure that they find ways to cut costs with your tax dollars. I feel like that we've done, you know, a very good job going back. I always like to look at the history of what we've done over a period of time so that we can gauge what kind of job that we're doing. And over the last 7 years in office, I've managed to reduce the spending of the circuit clerk's office by 46%. And just kind of gauging back to the previous administration in 2011, 2012, as compared to 2018, 2019, we were able to reduce it by 49%. So, you know, with technology and things like that we were able to utilize here in Washington County, we're able to do more with less. And I know the Quorum Court members are always asking us to do those things, but we're being able to utilize the resources that we have to continue to give a very high quality service to the citizens of Washington County while being cost efficient, cost effective. Looking forward to this year, you know, 2020, a new decade, and you know, we're starting to implement the 5-year plan that I've put in place. Some of the things that we're going to do this year, or at least start this year, we're going to look at the migration of all of our real estate documents, going all the way back to statehood, into one central location, one central database that's searchable online. And that way we'll have a running history from statehood all the way to current on all of the properties here in Washington County. We'll couple that with a company that we use, ACT Data Scout, which is here local in Fayetteville. They have a program called One Map, where you can actually stand on a property using your mobile device. It will ping your device and will pull up all the information on that property, who owns it currently, and also all the documents from our office, the assessor's office, and the collector's office on the history of that. So in this day and age of everybody wanting information at their fingertips, we're doing everything that we can to provide that for the citizens of Washington County, and I think we're on the forefront of that kind of technology. Just, you know, talking to our constituents and the companies that use our services, working with them to see what we can do to make their jobs easier and, you know, a good use of your tax dollars. We're also going to be migrating from 1992 back as far as the court records go in Washington County, entering those into the state database, the context court management system that we use currently. And that way, all of the court documents that we have in the history of Washington County will be available online in that database, searchable to anyone that would like to go through and look at that. So those are a couple of really big projects. My end goal for that is to have the most comprehensive and complete history of Washington County as far as the court records and land records go, available online, available on your mobile device, and I think we will be, once we achieve that, we will be the first in the state of Arkansas to have that availability, because we do have the most complete set of real estate records thanks to all of our predecessors. So we're looking forward to a good 2020. If there's anything that I can ever do for you, you can contact me at the Circuit Clerk's office here at Washington County.
Excellent. That one map sounds so cool. Prosecuting Attorney Matt Durrett.
Good evening. Happy New Year, everyone, and welcome. Last year was another busy year for the Prosecuting Attorney's Office, the criminal justice system in general. Last year, our office filed 3,397 new felony cases. While technically that number is down from the year before, realistically it's not, because we changed the manner of how we file cases and how we track cases. Previously, we had filed, whenever someone fails to appear for trial, that's a new felony charge. In the past, we had filed a new case. But last year, we began just amending a current case, whatever the current case that that a defendant failed to appear on. So that skewed the numbers a little bit, because in 2018, we filed 4,076 new cases, but that does include new failures to appear. Last year, there were 891 failures to appear, so the caseload or the workload's the same, just the numbers are a little bit different. That would put the numbers up slightly, but it's really hard to tell. We don't have an apples-to-apples comparison from year to year, because we changed the way we do things back in March, so we don't have a full year of the new method of doing things. Currently, our office is dealing with most of the cases that we see are drug or drug-related. There was an uptick in some violent crimes last year. We had currently we've got 11 open homicide cases in our office, which is pretty high, but a little bit lower than it has been in recent years. Although last year there were 8 homicides within the county. That number's up from the last few years, but down from our previous high in 2015. So looking ahead, we have a number of things, a number of goals that we're hoping to accomplish. Obviously, it would be great if certainly our violent crime was down and if our numbers were down. But we have several issues that not just our office but the system is facing. The number one issue probably is the issue at the jail, the overcrowding situation at the jail. We have the two biggest obstacles I think that our office faces is the overcrowding situation, along with our ever-growing caseload for our deputy prosecutors. Right now we have 16 full-time deputy prosecuting attorneys. Last year we got 1 additional prosecutor position from the state of Arkansas, from the state legislature, and then the Quorum Court spotted a need for more help and generously gave us 2 more positions. So that's going to bump us up to a total of 19 deputy prosecutors. The public defenders were given 3 new positions, and the purpose of this and the goal behind it is to attack this backlog in our system and try to find a way to get the numbers down in the jail. Because if you come to the Quorum Court meetings in the jail, actually the jail and law enforcement meetings, you'll hear the monthly report of how many people are currently in our Washington County jail, how many people are sleeping on the floor. That creates a problem. When you have inmates who are sleeping on the floor, that creates a problem. Aside from just the fact that you have people that you're detaining that are sleeping on the floor, it creates a safety issue, and for inmates, for jailers, for all involved. So I view it partially my responsibility to see what we can do to try to get those numbers down. With the addition of more personnel, I'm very hopeful, very optimistic that we can start trying to get those pretrial detainee numbers down, hopefully to less than 200, which would be ideal. I don't know how realistic that is, but that's a goal that I've been speaking with the public defenders on, about that being a primary focus, on getting those pretrial detainee numbers down, because the main issue with that is that's what we're paying for. We're footing the bill for that, and that If you ask anyone, if you look at budgets, that is a big a big chunk of our county budget is the jail. And when the numbers are up, the costs are up. So the sheriff has a very big budget and is paying a lot of money having to foot the bill for all those pretrial detainees. So we're hoping to drive that number down. We have a new crime lab that opened up, a satellite crime lab that opened up in Lowell. I'm hopeful that that's going to also shorten the time that it's going to take our cases to get resolved. Because in the past, it's taken 8 to 9 months for analysis of drugs that are sent down. We're hoping to cut that at least in half to 3 to 4 months. Hopefully to 3 months. So that would be a game changer if we can speed that up, and that would speed the process up greatly. Right now, the overcrowding issue is causing a problem, and so from my vantage, I have to, and our office has to balance public safety in the context of limited resources. So we're trying to become more creative. We're trying to take advantage of every possibility, whether it be drug court, veterans court, a number of different ways that we can do that to hold people accountable while helping them out where we can, changing bad behavior, and hopefully making sure that bad behavior is not repeated and putting someone on the road to becoming a productive member of society. I think we all benefit in those terms. That being said, we're working quite a bit with the new criminal justice work group that the sheriff has created to try to combat the overcrowding problem. We're working with the ombudsman that the Quorum Court has hired. So we're doing what we can, trying to get these numbers down to something more manageable, and hopefully this time next year we'll have better numbers and a better outlook. And so we're committed to, with these new positions the Quorum Court has given us, that's going to be one of our big priorities. So I appreciate your time, and thank you for coming.
Thank you, sir. Assessor Hill.
I'm Washington County Assessor Russell Hill. My Chief Deputy Dan Seipert's going to run through a PowerPoint, and I'm going to run through it, and he's going to click for me. I want to thank everyone for showing up tonight, and for those that are watching online, for your time tonight. For the sake of time, I'm going to run through this rather fast because I've got a lot of data I want to share and just get some numbers out to you. Starting off with looking at the county, Washington County is the 4th largest county in the state of Arkansas, 963 square miles. We're the 3rd largest in population. That was a 2010 census. I think the new one coming out will probably have us closer to 250,000. As we look at some numbers here in personal property, when we look at this personal property are all your vehicles, boats, and things like that. So it's increasing a little bit each year. Over the last 17, 18, and 19, we've had a 5.3% increase. And they're staying the same with the middle column is the phones, people who assess over the phone. The large column on the far right is those who come to one of our 4 locations throughout the county. You see the biggest increase that's taking place are onlines. And I think that's a trend as millennials are growing up. They're doing their life online. And so we're seeing more people using our online system to assess their vehicles. That is a convenience for them, but it actually creates more work for us. And so far this year, we're actually having a hard time keeping up with all the online assessments that are coming through. So we're already working for a plan for next year on how to address that situation. As we take a look here at personal property, this is our values. The blue columns represent the value that taxes are paid on. Over on the left side, you have the assessed value is 20% of market value. So on the left is the actual market value of all. If you were to take all the personal property and total it up in Washington County, we're at 3.4 billion, then almost 3.5, and now we're crossing over 3.5. So we've seen a 3.5% increase on personal property. Looking over at real estate, this is real estate transactions. Anytime a property is bought or sold or divided or improved upon, we get those transactions. They come through our office. You saw a lot of new construction in 2018. that 2019 is a little misleading because we have not yet added all the transactions that have taken place in the month of December. So that number will actually go higher than 2017, but it won't pass 18. With 240 workdays, 49 workdays in a year, we're processing probably closer to 80 deeds per day that come through our office. So it definitely keeps our people very busy. Continuing on, looking at new construction that's taken place in Washington County. New construction, those numbers are total market value of new construction that has taken place. So you look at 2018, $630 million in new construction. So we've had very strong new growth that's taking place in Washington County. In the last 3 years, we've seen $1,750 million just in new construction alone that's added value to the county. We'll go to our next slide. This is our parcel count. So every time a property gets developed or anytime anything is bought or sold or divided, it creates a new parcel, and we have to map those parcels out. So from 18 to 19, we grew by almost 1,300 parcels. 17 to 18, 18 to 19, we grew 1,400. That's a 2.5% increase across the county. So we're living in a very active, growing, vibrant county here in Washington County. We're going to look at the next slide. This is our real estate assessed value. Again, the blue columns represent the values that taxes are paid on. With our real estate, if you were to look at the market value, you see we're knocking on the door for real estate almost $16 billion in 2019. So again, these numbers are trending in the right direction. This next slide is I thought was really cool. We went back and we looked at the total value of personal property and real estate in Washington County from 1974 to 2018, and you can see the growth rate. I wish my retirement portfolio, my investment portfolio looked like this. If you look there at 74 all the way to 84, during that time there wasn't. Back then, the state didn't mandate when reappraisals were to occur, and so the assessor didn't want to get elected out of office for raising your values and your taxes, so they didn't reappraise very often. So that is just new construction increases. But then the state in 1985 says you got to do a reappraisal. You got to value these properties and get them up to the current market values. So that's why you see the big increase from 84 to 85. And then you start seeing good, steady, active growth, and then you start to see it really starting to climb up. And then in the late 1990s, you see it just getting ready to just skyrocket. There are two things, if you think back to what happened in the late 90s that took place that just really boomed Northwest Arkansas. One was Interstate 49 being completed. That opened us up to Fort Smith and everything south of there, and that allowed a lot of people to move commerce through. And the other thing was Walmart. Walmart said, if you're going to do business with us, you're going to put an office in Northwest Arkansas, and that's when everybody started coming in. And then you get up into the real estate market bubble. You can actually see the bubble there on the timeline, looking at it where it peaked at 2008 and then where it dropped off in 2010. And then since then, we've kind of been sputtering along, but now we are seeing what is a very active but healthy growth in Washington County real estate. So it's a good sign that we've kind of recovered from that and back on the tracks and things are rolling. Let me see here. Okay, now I want to look at, here's a look at 2020, a couple new things that we have going on that we're really excited about in the assessor's office. We're going to be introducing in February to our public property search site. We're going to be the first county in the state of Arkansas to offer this, and that's Oblique Imagery. And that gives you, right now we offer ortho imagery where it's just a straight up and down view of the property. You'll be able to see it from a side view, so that gives, if you're in a different type of a business, whether you're in real estate, home improvements. I used to have a roofing company years ago. I could go out and do free quotes. I could do it from my desktop now. I don't have to go out there, get on a ladder, and actually measure the gutters and the roofing and all of that. So this will be a great help to a lot of people with businesses, property owners, real estate agents. of that sort to be able to actually get a better look at the property. So we've been utilizing oblique imagery in our office for years, but it's never been made available to the public. And so we're excited about all the new uses that people will find and help them be more productive and better at what they do. Another really exciting thing that we have coming out in February as well is what we call our septic system data. We're working with the health department and Data Scout. For the last year, we've been going to the health department, pulling the files out on every septic system in Washington County. Before, they were filed either by the person that put them in, the person building the house, or the DR. And so it was really hard to go, where does this septic system sit? And so we've been mapping those and locating them. Now, if you look on that picture, now that's an actual ortho image. See the difference from the oblique before and the ortho now? So you get a lot better view. And then on that property, there's a little white dot. I think when we actually release it, there'll probably be blue dots. You'll see them a lot better. But that'll be where the septic system is on that parcel of property. And then the other great thing is when you click on that dot, it's going to pop up, and you're going to see how big a tank, who put it in, when they put it in, lateral, everything that they have on record at the Department of Health is going to be right there attached to that parcel. That'll be great help for realtors. For example, when I bought my property, the people that built it, there were just 2 people there. They had 1 lateral line. I move in with 5 kids. Now we got 7. Let me tell you, 1 lateral line does not cut it. So we had to go in several $1,000s later, 3 lateral lines. Now it's things are working the way they should. So this will be great help for property owners if they wanted to expand onto their house. That's kind of how it happened. A lady came in, she says, I want to add on, I want to pour a concrete thing, but I don't know where our septic system is and I don't want to build on top of it. And so that's what kind of spurred the idea of like, well, why not locate all of these? So we're going to release that in February, hopefully by July 4th. We're still working on a backlog of like 30, 40,000 septic systems we've been working on, mapping them, locating, scanning in those documents. But we hope to have all of that completed, all the septic system information. We'll have 5,000 out there when we launch this. And then as it goes on, we'll add them as they come in. But we hope to have all of them in and located on the map by July 4th of this year. So we've been working real hard at that. And then looking forward this is a big year for us. It's our countywide reappraisal. Basically what that is, it's an assessment review of all real estate parcels in the county, and we adjust those values that reflect the current market conditions. Our last countywide appraisal was in 2015. So when you look right now what people are paying property taxes on, they're paying property taxes based on 2014 values. So in 2020, we're going to adjust that to what reflects current market conditions. Now, there are caps in place, so it won't go up all at once on you. And if your property's frozen, it'll stay frozen if you're 65 or older or 100% disabled. There's certain laws that coordinate that. But that's a big task for us this year, and again, that'll hopefully help offset the cost of that half-cent sales tax we're going to miss out a little bit on. And in closing, as I shared, we got more parcels, we got more people moving in, we got more property to assess, we got more people doing new construction. Everything's going up, 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 and up. One thing that's not going up, especially if you compare it to 2010, and I call it doing more with less. I looked at our since we're going into a new decade, I said, what was our budget at 2010 in the assessor's office when we look at our supplies and services? Our budget was almost $500,000, and our budget for 2020 is $275,000. So even though our workload's increasing, we again have been pressed over the last, well, since I've been here for the last 5 years, to cut those numbers as best as we can and manage that. And so now my personnel budget is higher because people are making more than they were 10 years ago. We're paying more. But when it comes to the things that I have the most control over, I feel like we're doing a really great job. So in closing, Washington County is a great investment. Thank you for your time.
Excellent. Thank you, Assessor Hill. Our county collector, Ms. Angela Wood.
Hi, I'm Angela, the Washington County Tax Collector. So in 2019, we were working on trying to expand the Springdale Revenue Office, and we are still working on that. That's a lot of hoops that we've had to jump through to get that rearranged and moved around. And so we are still working on that. And we are actually going to move to a new system, a new collection system. That's going to make it a little better through ACT and Data Scout. So we'll be a little more connected with the assessor's office for this year. It's going to make it a little easier when you pay your taxes online that you'll actually get a receipt instead of having to wait a time period for us to go in there, process that payment, and then send you a receipt. It'll be an automatic receipt, and then you can finish whatever you need with the revenue office without us being there. So I'm looking forward to that. I think that's going to be a whole lot better, and it's also going to save some money for the county as well. And we're also going to work this year on some new ways to collect delinquent businesses. Delinquent businesses are pretty hard to collect on. So we are looking into some new ways to go after them before they sell all of their stuff and then don't pay their taxes. So that's what we pretty much have going for this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Collector Wood. Our County Coroner, Mr. Roger Morris.
Hello, my name is Roger Morris. I'm your coroner. We have started the MDI log now, which is a new program system, which is allowing us to contact the crime labs immediately whenever we have a body going to Little Rock for an autopsy. It allows, if any agency would like to put their reports or photos on it so they don't have to mail them, it allows them to get it instantly for chain of custody sakes. It allows us to do what we call an MEC, a medical examiner consult, in case we're unsure of a natural death that we want a second opinion on. And with the addition of the crime lab, we are hoping it speeds up our toxicology results, but on our end, with the cause of death, I need quantitative amounts. So that still has to go to Little Rock, so it's still going to take your average of probably 3 to 6 months. I wish it would, speed that up for us because we have a lot of people waiting for their death certificates. There are some things we're going to be looking into. We're noticed an increase in subdural hematomas, such as from falls, in nursing facilities. We're having an increase in alcohol-related deaths. And, we deal with death, but we want to do something to try to help stop it. If there's anything we can show on our end to help people research to say, hey, we got an issue here. We were able to finally bury our veteran indigents in National Cemetery, and I got to tell you, that was the most impressive thing I've seen. We had a very tragic weekend that weekend. One of our officers got killed that weekend, and we were hesitant about going ahead and doing it, but it was already put out. But what was impressive about it was we went ahead and did it. And these veterans were already lost in society once. And all I could think about with this other incident was they were going to be lost again at their burial. And, we rounded that corner, and they were lined up all the way around that cemetery. I think we had 200 to 300 people. It was, and to have this other thing going on at the same time, we have to be proud as a county. We have the best people that's imaginable that want to take care of their loved ones. We are, unfortunately, we've had about 5 suicides already this year, and 3 of those are veterans. So was in contact earlier this year with the new pathologist at the Veterans Hospital, and I'm going to talk to them more about maybe some things we can get with our veterans or see if she wants to do something, et cetera. We do have a lot of things coming up this year. It's like in 2003 when I started, I had a little cardboard box, and it's grown to where it is today. It's almost to the point now where we're going to have an administrative end and an investigation end, because I'm signing over 2,000 death certificates a year. And if anybody wants to come down and visit, I know it's not a place you want to go, but I'll be more glad to sit down and visit with anybody. We were able to bring up the Arkansas Medical Death Investigation course to Northwest Arkansas for all the local counties to bring their deputy coroners, because you got our smaller counties that can't really afford to send their people places, but you really need to know what you're doing so you don't step on, your law enforcement. They need to know what they're looking for. We want to know why these people died and when we need to report it to the lab. Other than that, I'm looking for a good year.
Thank you, Roger Morris, our county coroner, and you're right. That was the most powerful thing that happened really in that.
And I can interrupt, but I'd like to say one thing. We were donated the flag back, and the judge graciously accepted the flag for us on behalf of our veterans, and they're going to be doing some things with it. So if anybody wants to pay tribute to it, I'm sure we'll get it out later. I think it'll be at the Veterans
Service Office.
And but we thought that was very nice of the cemetery to do so for us. Thank you.
Thank you again. I did not say, we have 9 countywide elected officials, and you got 7 here, and 2, Sheriff Helder and County Clerk Becky Llewellyn, were unable to be here today. They send their regards. But clearly they will have some big years coming up, a big year this year. Obviously with elections, as you know, we have the ballot issues. We got the primaries coming up in March, and then we have our general election in November. So, and then we have our census, and our county clerk, Becky Llewellyn, is driving that. She's working on the governor's task force on the census to make sure that everyone is counted, and we really want to make sure everyone is counted here in Washington County in particular, because again, that locks into some of the dollars that are given to our state and from our federal government. And then obviously our sheriff is going to be quite busy this year as well. Again, when we get the results of our criminal justice study that we talked about, obviously working with our crisis stabilization unit as well as the ombudsman and some of the other programs. So both of those guys, while they're not here, they will have a big year coming up here in 2020. 2019 for us here, the judge's office brought another tremendous year for us. And again, our employee workforce is critical to that success. They work directly with you to make all that happen. And so again, my hat off and salute to all our county employees for the work that they do in delivering exceptional service. As you heard from all the elected officials here, again, Washington County is setting the pace. Here are a few of our successes in 2019. One, first, our fiscal responsibility is our goal was to end the year at 2019 with a flat budget, and we were able to cut it still by 2%. And cutting the budget by 2% after having 2 historically breaking reduction years. I think in 2018 we reduced our budget by $760,000, and then in 2017 we reduced our budget by $850,000. So back-to-back historical reductions, and then even looking to come in flat, we were able to reduce our budget by another 2%. Again, I'm just really proud of our team and what they've been able to do. Our senior leaders, in addition to that, was able to turn in about $715,000 back to the county general. Again, just being good stewards of their business. So again, I want to thank our senior leaders for demonstrating good business practices as they become more and more citizen-centric in serving you and the members in the county. Our roads and bridges, we completed several road and bridge projects in 2019. We got about nearly 1,500 miles and some of that are not county roads, but roads that we still maintain. And so with having over 1,500 miles and a pretty heavy rainy year, which adds to the workload, we completed 4 miles of new construction. We got Trace Branch taken care of. We chipped and sealed about 13 miles of gravel roads to paved roads and 35 miles of resealing existing paved roads. 2019 was an interesting piece for me. Last year we had about 1,400 road concern calls, and we responded to about 98% of that, which to me was like, we responded to 98% of road issues and road calls. This year, that number doubled. We had over 2,400 road concern calls come in, and we addressed 2,300, again, over 98% response. And so we're out there, the work and the bridges are being taken care of, the roads are being taken care of, and with those calls and that volume, that we were able to still maintain a 98% response is pretty phenomenal. So again, to our road and bridge crew and our staff at the road department, hats off to you guys. Some of you guys are working down there in the South Campus in the Sheriff's Department and the Animal Shelter. You're riding on new roads down there on the south end of campus. And again, that was built by our road department to relieve some of the congestion and truck traffic. And so again, that's been a relief and again, gives us access and immediate public safety concerns have been addressed because of that. And so again, hats off to our road department. Our Department of Emergency Management led our radio committee, and they did the research. They worked on the presentation. They worked with our law enforcement officers across the county. They worked with EMS across the county, as well as our Sheriff's Department, and got it to our JPs, and obviously now it's going to our citizens in the county to look at upgrading and updating our outdated radio system. And so you'll see that on the ballot come March. Again, our Department of Emergency Management also led a number of training to our employees, to our public, to our youth leaders around the county. And again, I can't say enough about our Department of Emergency Management team. If you haven't met them, you need to. We had a fatal accident back in September, and they were instrumental in helping the Sheriff's Department find that plane that crashed and not delay the wait and looking at it another day trying to find the wreckage. And so again, they are what helps make this county so successful in their expertise. Our Veteran Service Office, in 2019, we served 2,400 veterans, which was a 15% increase over 2018. And so when you talk about connecting with our veterans to minimize some of that suicide, high suicide across the country, it's connecting with them and helping connect them and their families with the benefits. And our Veteran Service Office, and over the past 3 years, have done nothing but connect that community and get them re-engaged. And so I appreciate that, and got more to come. And they increased their partnerships around the state as well as in this area, where we had a summit for our veterans and had brought over 65 different services together to do that reach and assistance to those veterans. So again, kudos to our Veteran Service Officers and the work that they do. Our planning team completed, in partnership with our road department, the regional planning offices in Northwest Arkansas, a 5-year road plan. They also streamlined some processes, assist in some of the administrative processes, as well as they worked in conjunction with our planning board in approving 20 of 23 conditional use permits. A lot of work goes into a lot of that goes on in our planning department and working with our planning board. So, and a lot more to become, and you'll see a lot more of that in the coming year. But again, I can't say enough about our planning team and the big task that they have in running that office. Our grants team, historical record. We had over $4.5 million in grants that we applied for, and we actually received $3.8 million. So that's 3 years back to back of over $3 million. And if we had been able to pull all of it, it would have been $4.5 million, but you can't get what you don't apply for. And so I know that next year we'll be definitely hitting over the $4 million mark. But again, hats off to our grants department, and has been a tremendous help to our county budget. It helps a number of different county officials when we have those type of grant dollars come in. The grant team also partnered with Ozark Guidance, the Department of Human Services, our Building and Grounds team, to help manage a grant that came from the state for our Northwest Arkansas Crisis Stabilization Unit. And again, a lot of moving pieces to get that grant and make that happen. And so, again, thank you to our grants department for doing that. And that has been a real big boost to our region. And that Northwest Arkansas Crisis Stabilization Unit, it serves Washington County, Benton County, Carroll County, and Madison County. And we also get a number of people coming over from Boone County to use that facility. So again, that's been a big win for us. Animal shelter, we transported 867 dogs and cats, which was up from 829 in 2018, to rescue facilities around the area and in other states. Secured about $65,000 in grants and donations, and then when you couple that with the transporting of dogs and cats to other places, that saved the county over $109,000. So if you haven't got a dog and cat, we welcome you to go down to the animal shelter. Otherwise, it'll be transported, and somebody else will get that. But again, that's a lot of work that those guys and a lot of animals and care that goes to those to our love of cats and dogs. Our building and grounds team. Wow, what a working year that they had. They renovated our former Department of Emergency Management building and converted that to what we now have as the Northwest Arkansas Crisis Stabilization Unit. And so, again, to that team and the work that they continuously do across the 40-plus buildings that we have, 42 buildings that we have in the county, that was a tremendous success, having that building renovated and recreated and repurposed for the Northwest Arkansas Crisis Stabilization Unit. We repaired and refurbished the old historic courthouse bell, and if you haven't seen it or heard it, it's there, and slow down and get a chance to listen to that. We partnered with Johnson Control this year, which was to go into a performance contract, and if you come into some of the buildings, you'll see different water systems. It's energy efficient with our light systems. You go out of the room after a while, the lights go off, and so it's just a way to be more intentional about being energy efficient across the county. And so again, thank you for that to our building and grounds team. County library system, over 1.2 million articles, books, magazines issued last year by our county library system. 1.2 million, which is 8% higher, 8.8% higher than it was the year before. We also had 17.5% increase in ebooks people downloading to their Kindles or what have you in 2019. We opened up a new library in Prairie Grove. If you haven't been there, again, welcome you out there to see it. I'm sure Prairie Grove would love to have you. We are also expanding 2 libraries, one in West Fork and one in Farmington. And so again, Washington County is reading, and you know, when you were kids, we said who leaders are what? Readers. And so keep reading, Washington County, and thank you to our county library team. Juvenile Detention Center, again, we welcome our new JDC director. If you haven't met her, Ms. Denise Collins, she used to work with us. She ran Benton County's Juvenile Detention Center, and now she's back with us running our Juvenile Detention Center. She's been back less than 90 days, a little more than 90 days now, but she hit the ground running with Kendrick and the JDC team. They partnered with Ozark Guidance. She spent some time working with them, and so she's partnered with them, and they're doing some work to better train our JDC staff to better serve those juveniles who are in our care. We also were approved in our operations by the state and federal, who make sure we have compliance in all our operations. So they've been approved and had both of those audits done. To our senior leaders, again, the HR team, IT team, comptroller, purchasing, environmental teams, to my chief of staff, I know he's in here, Carl Gales, there he is, our county attorney, Brian Lester, and Julie Harris. Ms. Julie, that's my exec team. You guys made this possible, and I thank all of you, the senior leaders and my exec team, for making 29 possible. A few goals for 2020. We got some new construction, new road construction that we'll be focused on. Those around Wallen Mountain. Wallen Mountain will see that road connection go White House Road all the way down to Highway 71 over there in Greenland. You will see about 10 miles of paved road, dirt roads being paved. We'll see some bridges be mediated, 612 bridge, the County Road 102 bridge, and renovate the County Road 208 low water bridge. So we got a lot of moving there. Our county facilities, we'll see a new juvenile court get constructed. We have a new juvenile judge who will be elected sometime this year, and they'll start in January of 21. And so we're working now on getting that court building done. We'll have one of the largest solar projects completed this year, and we'll be the only one in the state that will be county-owned solar project in the state of Arkansas, and so we'll have that completed this year. Obviously, the public safety and security will always stay as top priority, and so we'll continue to work with the sheriff and those EMS and law enforcement across the county as the radio system is put on the ballot, and we'll see and work with them as the election results come back. And we'll see where we will end up in getting those radios upgraded across the county for the public safety and the public good, as well as working with the sheriff and the different judges, the prosecutor, when the criminal justice study comes back this year. Again, we'll be increasing some additional security measures here in the courthouse and some of the other places. We also will be hosting in a couple of weeks our first, and this is going to be again in the state, a regional training in cybersecurity. Again, across the country, again, this hacking into servers, and it's not to be missed, and so we wanted to make sure that our elected officials from the region will be coming together to kind of go through some training on cybersecurity and what to look out for and what to be prepared for, so looking forward to that. I appreciate my monthly coffees with our mayors, my monthly breakfasts with these guys up here, and my partnerships with the judges in Benton County, Madison County, Carroll County, as well as Sebastian County. I will continue to foster those in the coming year, and this area is growing, and so I again have to make sure I'm partnering and looking at, so we're not duplicating and replicating a lot, but again, collaborating and seeing how we can improve and make this whole region better. I'll also be bringing in and working with the chambers across the county, which is going to be, again, with the growth and development. We live in the third largest in population county in the state, one of the fastest regions in the country. And with that, you got to have vision. And again, my vision has always been and will always be that we lead Arkansas. And if you heard and spent some time listening to what just went up here, we are leading Arkansas. In fact, I think I shared with you last year that we ranked #1 in how we engage and interface with our citizens in the county when it comes to transparency, when it comes to fiscal, administrative, and fiscal, administrative, and political measures, and we were #1 in all 3 of those against all 75 counties, #1 in each one of those categories, and that was huge for us. And I think it's not, even though I got that credit, it goes to all of us. This year, in 2019, for the second year, we became #1 in all 3 of those again, and we end up increasing our margin. Last year, in 2018, we were probably at 87, 88, and this year we end up being almost at 90. And so again, we're doing the right things, and we've got a lot of moving pieces, but again, it's a salute and a tribute to all our leaders, because again, this can only happen. We can only lead Arkansas if we got good leaders making good decisions to better the services to the people here in the county. And so with that, the state of Washington County is brighter. Is better and brighter than it has been, and I thank the citizens of Washington County. It is our privilege and our pleasure to serve you. Let's have a great year. Let's do Washington County together. Lead on. God bless you guys.